Hi, friends. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this new podcast series, How to Use Qigong for a Confident and Calm Life. This is a recent vision of mine, but it has been a long time in coming. Today, I am joined by my co-host, Nadine Searle, the Calmer Self Coach. From across the seas, Nadine, hello and welcome.
Hello, Susan. I am so pleased to be here with you today. And what a brilliant topic. Brilliant.
This topic came to me as I myself have been taking a certification to become a level 1 teacher in Qigong and Tai Chi Easy. Over the last couple of weeks, as I have been starting the formal training, every session I am amazed because I have been learning and realizing that the tools and strategies that I myself have been using in my own personal transformation, in my own transformative experience from the old type A life that I used to live, actually was what is called Qigong. And I'm hearing feedback. Are you hearing feedback?
No, I'm not. So
Oh,
hopefully
okay.
keep
Hold on.
going.
I'm sorry. I don't
Keep
know what's
going.
happening here.
Keep going. Keep going. You're fine. You're fine.
Over the last 2 decades of my life, I have had a deep yearning to be what others call Zen. In the day that I had no idea how you find Zen, the only thing I did know was that I wanted to feel better.
Yeah.
Honestly, through therapy, I happened to land with the most amazing woman who helped change my life, not by teaching me Qigong, but rather by listening to me and for sharing strategies that would support my own soul rise, as I now call it, using certain kinds of body movement, using certain kinds of thought, and using various tools that she taught me. In this new day and age for me, I live a completely different life from the old type A that I used to be. And honestly, as I've gotten to know you, my friend Nadine, as I have followed your calmer self ways, I have hired you, I have worked with you, I have
Yeah.
referred you. And as you and I have grown together in the very synergistic work of living a confident and calm life, I thought it prudent and so necessary, so needed today in this day and age to share the tools of how we both actually went from type A to Qigong Zen.
Yes.
So I shared a little bit of my story, and I want to ask you and invite you to share a little bit of your own story about how you went from type A to Qigong
Yes.
Zen.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Love hearing your story. But it's so true, isn't it? There is this. I used to think I was chasing happiness. That was what I was seeking. But actually, then through therapy, through the talking, counseling that I was going through, I realized that wasn't really what I was looking for. I was looking for peace. I was looking for acceptance. I was looking for just being okay with whatever it was. So Zen wasn't a word I had heard of, but I think that's what it is, isn't it? Zen, just being, it's okay, that kind of thing. And it's very interesting because I was almost trying so hard to actually find that when the energy work came to me, and it did come to me through, like you say, the people that you meet, the kind of thing that does, and Qigong, it was suggested to me to do Tai Chi. And then when I looked into it, Qigong was the more gentler, more in tune with nature type. I thought, no, that's for me. And I went along to a class and I started to do it. And I thought, I just felt what I wanted. I felt peace. I didn't understand any of it to start with, didn't need to. Just the movement. I call it moving meditation because it is that we're moving, but we are focusing. We are getting the benefits of meditation with movement. And then learning how it connects with nature, how it connects with our soul, how we get that grounding and all the things that we get from it, which I know we're going to discuss as we talk about this more. But it was that wonderful. And then I thought, oh, actually, without even realizing, I found what I've been looking for. And that to me was just mind blowing. It was so wonderful for me to go, I'm going to keep doing this. I love it. The moves I was learning, it's all a process, isn't it? But that feeling I got almost instantly. And the first thing I learned was just standing still. Woohoo!
Yeah.
In Wu Chi, I think it's called, isn't it? And then I realized I don't stand still. I wasn't very still at all. And just to be still and just tune in, wow, powerful, really powerful. So that was the start of my change. And it really was, before I'd become your Calmer Self coach or anything, I was doing it all for me. And that was a change. And this, what we call energy work, which again, I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
That was my introduction with the moving meditation. I was calling it all the time. And this wonderful, just learning every session a bit more about, wow, and how the universe is there and everything. And oh, just amazing. So changed my life massively. And yes, I have found what I was looking for, and it's helped me so much.
Would you say that you felt more confident as a result of using Qigong methods?
Definitely. And I know it's something we've talked about quite a lot, but people might not be familiar. But there's such a link between confidence and calmness, isn't there? So for me to reach that, just that first instance of standing still and just going, oh, it gave me a rise in my confidence level. And to actually feel that, it's like when you do something and you don't know anything about it, and then you start to learn and you start to get it. So every step of the way, that little bit more confidence, I can do this, or it feels good. I was tuning into my feelings more than I'd ever done. And actually, I started off my life as a very, very confident person, as we all do. Then life does what it does and you lose it. But it came back in that kind of way. And so these poses and the things that we do, and the movements and everything that we're doing, and just doing it, stepping into something new, and you've probably experienced this a lot. I just thought, well, yes. So the confidence did come with me, but I think it came from actually touching that Zen, like you say, getting into that state of peace as well. So they do go together, don't they? The confidence and the calm go together so much.
They do indeed. This is how we came to decide to do this podcast as co-hosts.
Yeah.
How to use Qigong for a confident and calm life.
Yes.
So not that long ago, I didn't even know what Qigong was. I had never even heard of it. And then I had heard of it, but I had no idea what it was. For me, Nadine, a few years ago now, out of the blue one day, I got a book in the mail. And it was a book called The Healer Within by Dr. Jahnke. And it turns out, long story short, that a friend of mine from high school had been following me on my daily lives. And he saw what I was doing. And he felt that this book and this material would support my work and my output.
Wonderful.
And even though I have a hard time reading these days as an entrepreneur, filled with a burning inspiration and passion to share what I know, my intuitive self and methods and messaging with others, I sat down and I read that book from cover to cover. And I was amazed at what I had been doing turned out to be Qigong. Now, there are other methods of mindfulness practices. And one of the things that I've been learning about Qigong is there are ways to do it, ways to say it, ways to engage. They're not all exactly the same as each other, depending on the teacher. Even you and I, in our early discussions, I asked you, is this the way you know it to be? Is this what you call it? But underlying is something you just said before. And that is this: I want to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really just wanted to be okay. I'm writing notes, Nadine.
You
You
do, don't you?
said, yes, I was chasing happiness. I thought I was chasing happiness, but then you said I was looking for peace, for acceptance. And
Mm,
then you said that I was okay. And
mm,
so, as part of my process over decades, I created what I call the platform of okay.
yeah.
And the platform of okay does not mean everything is good in your life. It's got nothing to do with that.
Mm,
But what it is what we now call chi, the energy in us. The Hebrew word is neshama for soul, the
oh, okay.
soul in us,
Mm.
the neshama in us. The chi is the energy in us that flows, whether we believe it or not, and can support the emotional, physical, and
Mm.
mental well being,
Yeah.
to have us be in a space that is what? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't sound enough, does it? Okay, but it's quite powerful, and I think you're absolutely right. And when you said about confidence, it's that for me, being at peace, being okay, makes me feel confident. If I know I'm okay, I've got that inner confidence. And like you say, the chi is our life force, our energy, and the moves that you do in qigong are moving that and just getting that so that we really, really feel it. And that is the joy, isn't it? And again, I hadn't done that. I hadn't tuned into me inside for decades, probably. So that joy of actually going, oh, this is what I feel like. And with that comes that peace and calm and confidence, which is just, yeah, I'm okay.
Exactly. So let's each take a minute to share how we were type A, because
Mm,
honestly, my desire for doing this podcast, for sponsoring this podcast, for being here with you is to help people who are in what might be called overwhelm,
mm,
anxiety, chaos, even, to
mm,
know that there are very simple things that can be done to change this moment,
mm.
which is what changes the next moment,
Yes. Yeah.
which changes the next moment.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was one of those people where being all things to all people was the least of what I expected of myself.
Mm,
Being all things to all people, coming from a high achieving background, family, really a privileged, blessed, and beautiful life. I really felt the responsibility to, rise up to be the leader that was intended and that I was taught to be. And that not only was I all things to all people, including my family, my growing up family, my friends, my community. For me, it was my synagogue, my
mm,
college group,
mm.
all these things, but to do it all perfectly,
Yeah.
or as close to perfect as
Mm,
I could get
mm,
in the real type A mode. And I did that really from the time I became 14. That was my orientation. And it was in my mid 30s that I finally had an emotional meltdown that landed me in bed for 10 days,
mm.
really completely, out of it. And at my bottom, when I started to say, I want to feel better than this. I want to feel okay. And so before, when you said, okay, doesn't really cut it, does it? It
It
doesn't
does.
seem
It does.
like very much.
Mm, mm,
But honestly, getting to okay, what I call being on the platform of okay, was this little tiny bridge that I created for myself to cross over by feeling better now and now and now,
mm,
feeling better than this, a little bit better than
yeah.
this.
Mm,
And it wasn't easy. I honestly, I was
mm,
in therapy. I was on medication for 7 years. It took me a
mm,
decade of time
yeah.
and energy to move through that space. It was commitment, it was work, it was failure over and over. But time is our friend in this business,
Mm,
and practice is our friend.
mm,
Qigong actually means the practice of energy,
Yeah. Yeah.
or also the devotion to energy,
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
the commitment to energy. Qigong and all mindfulness activities are what we call practices.
Yes. Yeah.
We are humans, life happens, life continues to happen. And so then you practice some more. So
Mm.
that was my type A existence. And people who know me now and who knew me then say to me, "Who are you?" What happened to her? So, what is your type A story, Nadine?
Mm. I love that you call it type A, because until I met you, I never thought of myself as I used to be type A.
Ah,
Never gave it a title, but I love that because actually it is, yeah, type A. I was definitely a people pleaser, massively, put other people's needs before my own, and always, I thought that I was so important, the world would stop spinning if I stopped. And of course that doesn't happen, but it was all tied up. So I worked myself very hard, and I'm talking about even from a child. I have to do everything, I have to do this, have to do that. Bit controlling. I thought I was the only person that could do things properly. That's tough, isn't it? That's hard to follow. But that was my life, and that's what I did. And I worked very hard. I got in a sales and marketing environment that was all about how hard you work and how much you push, and it's all targets and that kind of thing. And I was really good at it. I loved it. I thrived on that. This people pleasing really kicked in, because that's what you need when you're a salesperson. You're living in that world. So it was very much my lifestyle, and I didn't know any different. And as I said, I'd been brought up that way. Like you say, it's a family place, if you like, isn't it? No, do well, do your best, do whatever, you feel that you have to. It's family loyalties, isn't it? That kind of thing. So all caught up in that, and I was just busy all the time. And I really thought that that's what I wanted to be. Through years of therapy, I learned that actually I was avoiding things. It was a way of me, and that I think is quite common for a lot of people. We make ourselves busy and we don't always know why. I remember a therapist saying to me once, every time we had to book another session, I'm trying to work it out in my diary, and she said, "Why are you so busy?" And I was like, "Well, because I'm so important. That's why." That's what I thought. What a silly question. I thought, "Why are you so busy?" And it was a very slow realization that I was making myself busy to avoid the peace and the calm and the stillness. I was scared of it. So, and I think a lot of people probably might not realize that, but they might, hearing me say it, actually, oh, that might be me. But it is that I knew I needed to change. I didn't have the breakdown like you describe it, but I continually got ill. I continually was not in the best of health, and it just gradually, it basically chewed away at me. It wasn't a massive one breakdown as such. It was continually, I kept picking myself up, and then it was going down again, and picking myself and going, and I never took time off. I never gave myself rest. I never gave myself a break. So it played on my mental capacity big time. I honestly thought I was losing my mind. That was very scary. But in my physical health, it didn't help at all either. And I just kept getting ill. I got chest infections a lot. I lost my voice a lot. That was, looking back, the only way the universe could stop me working was take my voice away, because that was the only thing that would make me go, I can't work. Everything else I worked through. So that kind of thing. And then it was that realization that I wasn't happy. I was scared. I was living this life of high anxiety, chaos. You mentioned chaos. Oh, totally chaotic, total mess. Muddling through, as I say, achieving wonderful things, tons of money, recognition, all that kind of stuff, but killing myself in the process. And so, very, very, it took me a long time to get the message, you have got to change something. And it was hard. And as I say, when I was just looking for this, I just want to be happy, thinking that's what it was all about. It was about, I was seeking alternatives. Like you say, I said earlier, I didn't know the word Zen. I didn't know Tai Chi, Qigong. I didn't know any of this. But it came to me, this kind of, like you say, we put it out to the universe. I want whatever, I want something. I was saying that, not out loud at the time, but I was, obviously that was coming out of every pore of me. I need something. I don't know what. And it came to me. And then once I stepped into that, like you say, it's one little change, isn't it? And I went to my first Qigong class, and I was really nervous. But I stood at the back of the room.
Of
You
course.
like you do, you do. But I did very, very quickly start to go, this is where I'm meant to be. This is good. So it sort of became a bit addictive for me, you know, like I say, it's a practice. And it is, you know, if I miss a day when I don't do it, it's part of my positive morning routine that I do. And if I don't do it, it makes a difference, really makes a difference to how my day goes. So you're right, practice. It's a practice that we do. And it does so much, doesn't it? So,
Mm.
mm,
The lifestyle that you described, being a sales and marketing executive, and there were other parts of your career I know that also led. You used the word chaosy, which is one of my words as well.
yeah, chaos.
And what's coming up for me when you talk about it, you said I didn't get I finally got the message that you have to do something. You got sick and sick over and over. And it was just like, oh, I've got the cold, I've got this, I've got the sore throat, I lost my voice. But really what is being shown to us, the practice that I learned over the last decade of this experience, really 20 years now, was led to the creation of my coaching methodology. I have a 4-part coaching methodology, and the phase 1, as I call it, is coming to consciousness.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's really what we're talking about. How much I wish, for your sake and everyone who loved you, that you had come to consciousness sooner. That I'm getting sick
Exactly.
over and over, right?
Yes. Why did it have to take so long? Why was I so resistant?
And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why we're having this conversation
Yes.
today,
So
and
that
we're
people can get it.
offering this
Yeah.
series that people can hear the stories of other people like them, and they can know that there is hope to go from that anxiety or depressive space, or from the overwhelm and chaos, overly busy life, to leading lives differently. The
Yes.
second phase in my methodology, which I use in my coaching work, is clarity. And that really is what we both found in the therapeutic experience, combined with the other tools and strategies that we began to seek out. You didn't know what Qigong was, somebody suggested it to you. It was in clarity that of what you wanted, of how you wanted to feel differently, how you eventually began to want to make intentional, an important word there, especially in Qigong, change in your life. And then the third phase is confident. And and we talked about that. When you go and you do something new, there's no confidence,
No.
right? There's fear and worry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you come in to the stillness, as you also talked about, the stillness of your body, and you faced the quiet within, that's the biggest thing that I was afraid of. What am I going to hear if
Yes.
I get
Yes.
quiet?
That's the key. And that's what I know, like you say, we want people to hear what we're saying, because one little bit will click in and they go, oh, this is what we want to do, help people. I always say, you've heard me say it loads of times, I learnt the hard way so you don't have to, because sharing our story is to actually say, this is how I did it. You don't have to make it so hard. And like you say, it's actually just getting that clarity and going, oh yes, you know, and recognizing, you know, I didn't know what I was scared of, but I was running, if you like. I was in that frantic state all the time,
Yeah.
didn't realize. But that stillness, and actually being in that stillness in my first taste of Qigong, then I go, oh, it wasn't so bad.
Exactly.
And I got to be honest with you, Susan, when I did my first lesson, I'll call it, I don't class, whatever you want to call it, tears came, emotion came up because
Nadine,
of the stillness, because of the stillness.
in the very first class that I had, I've done 3 now, I have cried full on
Yes.
real
Yeah.
tears, not
Yeah.
sobbing, but
No, just the,
tears have come out
yes, they come out. Yeah. Yeah.
each time. And
Mm,
I agree. It
mm,
is from that stillness. There
Yes. Yeah.
is, if you'd like to call it, a universal source within. Some people call it godliness. Some
Yeah.
people call it, the universe, energy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That when you are willing to seek
Mm.
the stillness
Yeah.
from the external chaos, right?
Yeah.
The stillness is within, the chaos is without,
Mm.
right? Now, chaos gets created within,
Oh,
but
yes. Yeah.
the chaos is the external nature of things imposing on you.
Mm.
Then you will begin to invoke your own chi,
Yeah.
your own neshama, the soul space,
Mm.
and it will rise in you.
Yes.
So I just want to say that the way that Nadine and I came together in the completion of Synergy is that long before I met Nadine, the fourth phase in my own methodology is calm.
Yes. Yes.
And that is one of the things that I realized when we met, that it was all intended to lead
Yeah.
this space.
Mm. Mm.
So this conversation has been so rich and deep, and I love how much you are invoking people listen
Yeah.
to these stories. Does anything in what we've said resonate with you?
Mm.
We are here to say that there is calm in your future. There is
Yes.
confidence in your future.
Yeah.
And we invite you to join us on this podcast series where we will be exploring and reviewing and sharing with you many of the principles of Qigong so
Mm.
that you can actually go from type A to Qigong Zen. Nadine and I are both here to show you that it is indeed possible. Nadine, I will look forward to our continuing
Yes.
conversation.
Me too. Me too. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I want to end this podcast asking you one question, and that is this: are you ready and willing to visit with your own stillness?
Mm.
Until next time, friends, take good care.
Brilliant.